My name's Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from New Mexico. I live down near the Mexico and Texas border. And I just wanted to have a conversation with some of my friends out there who are both Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders supporters as we move into the summer and talk about presidential politics. Had a really good, in-depth, understanding conversation with a friend and constituent of mine named Nicole yesterday, who is a fervent Bernie Sanders supporter. And I just wanted to share with you some of the thoughts that I had that came out of that. The first message I have is to my Hillary Clinton friends. First, if you're talking with someone who supports Bernie Sanders, either in person or online, please don't use the term get in line or anything else like that. That sort of message comes across as really disrespectful, like you're spiking the football, and it's basically not going to work in trying to get people to where you want to be. Secondly, let's all really understand that Bernie Sanders was right on a lot of different things, especially for me, campaign finance reform and getting money out of politics. I ran for Congress in 2008. And I spent more time on the phone asking people for money than everything else I did combined. And that's not rare. A lot of people do this. And that means that people with money have more influence than people without money in the political system. And it means our government officials are spending more time raising money than, governing. And that's a real problem. The third thing is, if you're young, under the age of 30, I'm a little bit older, I'm 38. I remember the 90s when things were going pretty well in this country. If you're under the age of 30, your entire adult life has been brought up under the specter of a really, really bad war with terrible consequences and an economy that just collapsed for everyone and still hasn't recovered for so many people in this country. And so there's a real attractiveness, validly, for the language of revolution and massive change. And I think he really tapped into that. And that's something that Hillary Clinton's going to have to do a job of addressing. But for my friends who are Bernie Sanders supporters, let me say this. You talk about revolution. So what does that mean? Does that mean getting money out of politics, or talking about climate change and doing something about it, or really making college affordable, or any of those other things that he talked about? There's more than one way to skin a cat. The first is, if Hillary Clinton is elected, that's someone Bernie Sanders can work with if he's still a senator. And secondly, if the Democrats take back the Senate, he'll be a committee chair, which gives him a massively powerful platform to push for the changes you want. So if we can get the election right here in 2016 and support him as he moves forward to make these changes, that's one way to make real, concrete, substantive change. The second thing, and this is a problem I have with some of the Bernie or bust people, it seems a lot of those people won't even vote in the election. And as someone in the state House of Representatives and who used to be a local government official, so many of these revolutionary changes that you talk about are happening at those lower levels. So for instance, I'm actually really pushing to legalize marijuana and have progressive tax reform to make the tax code fairer. Can't do that if we don't get our folks elected and if people on our side of the aisle don't come out to vote. So I would encourage you to think about that. Secondly, a lot of folks are thinking about voting for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein or just leaving that name blank because they really have a problem with Clinton. And look, I get it. I voted for Ralph Nader in 2000 when Bush and Gore were locked in that really close race. And I have complete respect for that. It's your vote. You do what you want. That's America. But let me make an argument to you about why I thought I was wrong to vote for Nader. I said Bush and Gore were the same. And Nader got enough votes that if some of those people voted for Gore, he probably would have won. And I was wrong. Because if Gore wins the election, we don't invade Iraq. We don't have those massive tax cuts for wealthy people that increased income inequality. We don't have a Supreme Court that gets us Citizens United and takes us backwards in terms of getting money out of politics. And we almost definitely don't have No Child Left Behind, which was a terrible burden on a lot of our teachers, forcing all the testing on our students. When you consider this, though, also consider that so much of what you hear about Hillary Clinton is negative, and you don't hear a lot of the positive things. You don't hear that when she was First Lady, she really took on the health care issue and was successful in helping to pass the S-CHIP program, which gave health care insurance and support to millions of American kids. You don't talk about when she was a Senate and gave so much support and got a lot of money for National Guard and reservists who were coming back home from the war and their families to help them with mental issues that they were having because of their experience in the war. You don't talk about when she was Secretary of State, all the great work she did promoting women's rights around the world, talking about and setting up some of the climate change things that we just got done. I think we need to talk about those things. And furthermore, when you look at the alternative, and let's be real clear here, it's going to be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. That is what's going to happen in the election. And I've heard some people say, well, I just want Trump to get elected because it'll be so bad that we'll just change. And I completely disagree with that. I have a friend, Ben, who talks about some professors he knows that study fascism, and he says Trump is driving them to drink. He is absolutely a racist. He has divided this country on sex and religion and disability. He doesn't know anything about the issues. Even Mitch McConnell, who's the Republican head of the U.S. Senate, said it's pretty obvious he doesn't know a lot about the issues. And this can cause an economic collapse, both because he's crazy off doing this and that, and the economy relies on stability. And I think he'll get us into a terrible trade war. You don't need to hear all this stuff about Trump. You see it all the time. And I don't think you should vote for Hillary just to stop Trump. I think she needs to do a good job of putting out a case of why to vote for her. But I also think it's up to us to have this conversation in an intelligent manner, and I'm really trying to help with that today. So thanks a lot for listening to this. I really appreciate it and hope we can all kind of move forward into the summer and the fall, having these conversations and figuring our stuff out together. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye.